Hey, this is a quick tutorial on Wordmark logo design. Check this out. So here is a Wordmark that I designed for one of my clients. But before that, let's talk about what is a Wordmark. So Wordmark or a logotype is basically a brand name set in a unique typeface with some unique characteristic features. Now, when to use a Wordmark? Wordmarks are ideal for short and distinct brand names like Sony, for example, or Visa, or Gap. So wordmarks ensure brand name recognition. For example, here are two brands from automotive industry. So on the left we have a symbol, but on the right we have a wordmark. So you can't miss that. And this is especially true for new brand names. And wordmarks can stand the test of time and they can become iconic. Just look at the Coca Cola's wordmark that hasn't been changed for decades, or the Dell's wordmark. Now, wordmarks can also work across various industries, so they are very versatile for apparel, automotive, beverages, technology, restaurants, industrial, doesn't matter. And they basically enable you for strong typography customization. They are easy to design because you can just choose a unique font. For example, Dunkin chose a bold, rounded font, but Sears chose a very light font and the name is set in lowercase letters. Porsche, on the other hand, has a very wide, blocky font. Sony uses a slab serif and Coca Cola is a script font. Now you can also use ligatures, which is especially true for script fonts, but also Etna uses ligature here and is not a script font. And then we have a prominent ligature right here in the Pinterest wordmark. Now another thing you can do is you can just stylize some letter forms, like in the Vans logo. The V is much bigger and it hugs the rest of the wordmark. In the Brown wordmark, on the other hand, the A is much bigger, which makes it super unique and distinctive. In the Bose logo, we have those lines right here and right there, and it's set in a very bold, italic, all caps font. And in a Dell logo, the E is rotated. And another thing you can do is you can just use some illustrative elements that are inseparable from the wordmark, right? So in the City logo, we have an umbrella over the T. In the Amazon logo, we have a smile from A to Z. And this is the logo I designed for one of my clients. So we have a leaflet here instead of a dot over the I. And in the Showtime logo, we have the first part enclosed in a circle, which symbolizes a spotlight. Now you can also experiment with letter spacings. For example, Gap uses a very condensed tall font with a lot of white space in between. Chanel wordmark has also more space in between letters, but Panasonic has a pretty tight kerning, and Zara totally broke the rules where the characters are overlapping. And then you can also use colors, right? So these wordmarks basically use very similar font but different color schemes, right? And especially those three, Jeep, Panasonic and Kawasaki, basically use the same Helvetica font, but they use a different color scheme. So now let's talk about how to create a wordmark. So my client has a very unique name. They basically combine medical with marijuana, and so it's basically about finding the right font. So we can use my fonts or we can use Adobe fonts, type in your brand name and find a font that can tell the brand story. So for example, we wanted to search for a clean modern font for this brand. You can also use Google Fonts for that. So for example, I started experimenting here with different fonts, and then here is the final wordmark, right? And here we have the symbol. And so the symbol can be used as a fav icon or on social media. So here we have a wordmark with the slogan, we have the wordmark and the brand mark by itself. And here is an example of how it works. And then you can also go to my website and see it in my portfolio. I animated this logo so you can see how this wordmark looks on different applications. And here is a brand guideline. So basically, if you go to typography, the primary font is actually Atlas Bold, which is a serif font, but in the wordmark, we use Manrope, which is a secondary font, also used for the body. Also check out my other video about my logo design process, but if you're looking for a logo designer, then you know where to find me. But if you're a logo designer yourself, and follow for more tips on logo design and branding. And I will see you in the next video.